that's a good start to the show, to actually run the end credits rather than the
I thought you got distracted and wandered off to the garden or something. I was like, well, come on then. Well,
tonight's show, everybody, will be going in reverse. It will be going in reverse. So, any other business? No. Everybody, it's I haven't even had a drink today. Good Lord, that's a spectacular start to show. The wrong titles, never mind. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. How are you, Drew?
All right, now the weather's broken.
It is blessedly cooler out there, isn't it?
Yes, it's very, very much. I didn't get a lot done during the week because work was frankly hellish. And when I was at home, I just kind of lounging around, trying to avoid doing anything, because if I sneezed, I broke into a sweat as well. So
it wasn't really good spraying weather, was it?
Well, it wasn't good doing anything weather, and the emergency with Mother meant that I lost my fan for a few days in the model room. So I certainly wasn't going to be sitting in this sort of westerly facing model room without something to cool me down. So it's been a week of a very little tangible progress, shall we say.
Same here. For the most part, I've been sat out in the evenings. If I haven't been doing the ghost stories, I've been sat out reading my book on smuggling in the West Country.
Smuggling in the West Country.
Yes, Yeovil gets quite a mention. That was
a bit of a way station, wasn't it?
It was. There's a lot of ne'er-do-wells up to no good or warrant in Yeovil.
Still is.
Yeah, it hasn't changed much in all that time, is it?
Like 18th century county lines.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, welcome to tonight's history of Somerset. We got some news items to do tonight because we're conscious of the fact we haven't done any news items for a while, and there are a few things that have popped up this week that are worthy of talking about. But before we do that, I know it's rather kind of, it's rather untoward to actually talk about modelling on a modelling show. But should we talk about some modelling first?
Go on, then.
What have you been up to?
Oh, right. I'll just bat the one. This is like Olympic tennis, isn't it? What have I been up to? Well,
this is like the Team GB baton passing. This is, as in, absolutely hopeless.
Yeah, stumbling and
stumbling.
Anyway, well, the BOFA. The BOFA is pretty much the only thing I'm focusing on at the moment, because it's I want to get it built, basically. So so with the weather having changed and meant I can get in here, I have made some more progress this week. I mean, the wings, as we can see, I mean, we'd seen the wings last time, hadn't we? They were together.
We had seen the wings last time.
Well, they just riveted last time, but not actually together.
No, you had started riveting them.
Yeah, well, they're all together now, and I've kind of made lenses for the wingtip lights and filled that all with super glue. Although were I to do it again, I'll probably use clear resin, and dealt with the leading edge lights as well. Added the nacelles, filled and sanded those, and added the intake. So yeah, it's been quite a busy week. This trailing edge section here on the wing is separate. It goes in separately, and hopefully you can see that actually it's about as perfect as a fit gets.
Now, when you say filled, there, it's gonna blip some people's spidey senses, thinking you've been kind of like shoveling on filler, like a bricky troweling it into a,
Yeah, no, I mean the total amount of filler that's been used on these wings. There was a tiny bit along that leading edge, just that's down to me. A tiny bit, you can see the black super, hopefully there, which I used to fill that part of the nacelle joint, but nothing on the underside anywhere. And that is it. This here, this actual separate insert here for the wing trailing edge, that just with a little bit of trimming of the tab, that just locked straight into place with a little bit of glue, and that is it. That hasn't even been sanded or polished on the top side. The underside, it did require a little bit of sanding to level it off, but again, no filler was used. And it's, it's pretty much as good as this sort of thing gets. And so yeah, the wings are being completed at the points where I can actually get into the into the workshop this week without melting. And then we were on to the fuselage, which I finally got together. Well, just in the last couple of hours actually. But one thing that I can't stress enough is the join of the wings to the fuselage is absolutely perfect. It's just I've rarely seen a fit that good. And the good thing is it works on both sides as well. It's not, sometimes you get one wing fits,
Yeah,
and the other wing's a bit can be a bit shonky. This one, as you can see, both wings are absolute perfect.
now you had some thoughts, you shared some thoughts during the week on, I think, on your page about the interior detail.
Yeah, and I mean, from the cockpit bulkhead here back, all of this area, detailing it is just strikes me as a complete waste of time. There is absolutely nothing to be gained from it. To my, even if you have this gun hatch here open, you're still only going to be able to see a little bit behind it. And what are you tapping?
No, I was. No, it's not me.
Yeah, the actual interior itself. I mean, this is together now, and apart from a set of Edward seatbelts that I just grabbed from my pile of etch and stuck in there for a bit of for a bit of effect, the rest of it is just interior grey, green, black, some washes and highlighting, and then when you kind of when you drop the canopy over it, I mean, okay, most of that's masked. It's really, there's going to be very little seen when you're more than 12 inches away from it, and through all the heavy framing and stuff. So yeah, I mean, my thoughts on the interior are that if you wanted to go to town on the cockpit and the bomb stroke torpedo aimer station, that would be visible if you got up really close. It undoubtedly would be kind of worth it if detailing is your thing, is your bag. But for me, I'm sticking with my initial assessment that it's painted up, and the clear parts in place and all the framing painted. Once you're over like 12 inches away, which, let's be honest, is where most of us, is where most models tend to be viewed from, isn't it? Very few people at model shows, even if they bend down to look at a model, they're not getting at it with a magnifying glass or anything. So yeah, I mean, I think the actual cockpit and the bomb aimer station, yeah, there's an argument there for detailing it if that's your bag, but there's also equally an argument that what the kit gives is fine if that's enough for you.
I'm going to say it's not like you're having to deal with the detail that was included in the original Airfix Blenheim from the 1960s, or indeed the Frog Beaufort, which is a L-shaped peg and a crew member, and that's it. That's your interior detail.
I mean, when the ICM 48 scale one turns up, hopefully later this year or early next year, that's a whole different ball game. That's a big, that then becomes a big, very visible area. Scale does matter. That is going to be one where that's really going to repay some care and attention on the interior. On this, I'm hopeful that with this, the finishing of it and the riveting and all the rest of it is going to be what catches the eye, and hopefully that will hold true. So yeah, if people buy it and they want to throw loads of etch and resin and whatnot into the interior, then more power to them. Not my bag. Never, I'd never been an interior sort I just like to get it done and then get on to painting.
Interior details are that unfortunate hindrance that stops you getting the airbrush out.
Yeah, they're that annoying step on the way to the fun. So yeah, I don't like to say it's, you know, detailing a kit of this scale and size is pointless, because some people get a lot of joy out of doing that part of the model. In which case, more power to you. Just don't be surprised if nobody really comments on it once it's built, because, you know, people aren't going to delve that close to a model. But I have to say, overall, the model builds fantastically well. We all know the ongoing issues with the quality of Airfix's plastic. This model is no exception. The plastic is, quite frankly, terrible. But that said, the actual model is going together like an absolute dream. So they might have finally sort of come to sort of the quality of the plastic and the quality of the tooling might have come to some sort of middle ground agreement, if you like, in that although the plastic is terrible and that has led to lots of problems in the past, on this one it doesn't seem to be hindering it at all. So yeah, I mean, it's generally so far very, very positive, very, very positive, enjoyable build. So I would like to say in response to Ivan there, see his comment there.
Just going down, Beaufort is without doubt the prettiest of the Bristol twin engine family. Sorry, Blenheim Mark IV.
Yeah, no, you're wrong. I mean, clearly it's the Beaufighter, but
it clearly is the Bristol Brigand. Yes. So we will move on. Okie dokie. Well, hopefully, if I can get the camera to work here, and guess what, my OBS has decided to stop working. Isn't that annoying? My OBS. I'm just gonna butt out for a second and remove myself, and then try and come back in with OBS, because for some reason it's decided to stop working. So, bing.
People using Macintoshes.
Try that again. Right, here we go.
Working now?
No, it's still not. Oh, for goodness sake.
Have you got the virtual camera started?
Yeah, I've got virtual camera is on. I tell you what, we're going to quit OBS, and I'll bring myself back in. So see you in a few seconds, folks. Fill in.
Oh, sorry about that, folks. It's just for some reason my OBS seems to be very, very stable. I don't seem to have any problem whatsoever with mine. But,
he's back.
There you go. Look at that.
He's back. He's back with a vengeance. Right. Well, first of all, here we go. I have been. I ordered this book because this is fantastic. This is only a tenner off of eBay. And it's the Schiffer book on the Kettenkrad, or Kettenkraftkrad. And this is fabulous. It is just, let's get it under the camera a bit more. It is absolutely chocked with brilliant reference photographs. There's one there that I know Dave Fleming will enjoy, because it's a Kettenkrad being used by British troops in North Africa. Just a fantastic book. And it does highlight some of the subtle... Hang on, let's get this stupid camera in the right place a second. What's it do on Sunday night? I don't know. It was amateur hour. Yeah, it does highlight some of the subtle differences between the versions. But fantastic book. For a tenner, I'm just really chuffed with this. And I might order another couple of Kettenkrad books. How about that then? Cable layer. Look at that. Isn't that glorious? Yeah, so enough of the book. Let's talk about the model. As you can see, it's, well, here is a story about these tracks. I had an absolute mare with these tracks, and it is entirely of my own making, which we'll come to in a minute. But as you can see, we're at a stage now where we've got a little bit of weathering on there, got the tracks on, and we've got the seats are in there as well. So we'll be taking photographs and popping these up on the timeline later on. So I've just got the wheels there, have had a dust coat applied to the rubber sections. Those will be dry brushed in dark grey to kind of get a bit more contrast on it. Then it's a case of just doing the last few bits of stowage and then the figures, which are currently drying out on a piece of kitchen towel after I gave them a good wash and some detergent. So the tracks, goodness me, what did I do with the tracks? Well, as you can see,
you try and get clever.
I did try and get clever.
I'm just cutting to the chase here.
Right. What I did was I tried to do a Martin Kovac, you see, and what I did was I assembled them around the running gear like this, and then left one section undone so that I could then take them off, pop them back on when they were painted, and then close up the end section with super glue. Martin does that on his show all the time, and he makes it look easy. I, on the other hand, just absolutely fouled it up beyond belief. And the thing that I did, kind of like, you know, Route 101 mistake here. The thing that I did was last night I applied a wash to the tracks.
Oh no!
I know.
What did you use? What kind of wash did you use?
I used an oil-based one.
Oh,
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, I used an oil-based wash, which, because you've got, if you can see on here, you've got minimal contact point between some of these track links anyway. You're talking about fractions of a millimeter to hold them all together. What did the thinner do? It made everything fall apart. So I know, it's honestly, hire the clown car, the clown is here. So I then ended up having to reassemble these tracks and in some instances trying to work out which bits went where again. We got there in the end, but it's not as neat and tidy as I would have wanted it to have been. But it's not hideously disastrous. What
I used the Kovac method to do these tracks on the KV1.
Yeah, hang about. Switch cameras. Hang about. Yeah, there we go.
So I used the Kovac method to do these tracks on the KV1. And what I didn't use was any oil or spirit-based washes on them.
Yes, all right. I learned me lesson.
I just think it's important to point out that you know,
it is important not to use oil. It's important not to use oil-based washes. Absolutely.
Do not. Well, it's not even oil-based. It's spirit-based, isn't it? Anything that's spirit-based. Don't use a spirit-based wash on things like tracks.
Right. What I wish I would have done on this, and what I will do the next time when I build another one, because I will get around to building another one, and that is just assemble. I'm just going to assemble the whole thing as a completed unit. Okay. Yeah. Now people are going to say, but hang about, how are you going to paint the tires and the yellow bits, and you know, and how are you going to get around that? I'll do what I did on this, which was, and you probably can't see it very well there, but what I did on this was I ended up just spraying the whole unit in a kind of mucky black-brown color, then going in with the dark yellow and picking out the road wheels and the load-bearing wheels. You do end up with a little bit of a soft edge between that and the darker color of the tires, but that works in your favor when it comes around to weathering. It would have certainly made life a lot easier. Also, I did leave, you can see it's all wibbly wobbly there. I did leave the rubber blocks off once I painted the track and metallized it. Then I painted the rubber blocks and put them on again, and they're all separate, by the way. Look, it would have been easier to just assemble these as just one complete unit. So, hey ho, you know, we live and learn. Yeah, I've just had a look on the underside there, and I'm not kidding. It's yeah, that's a bit wobbly. Look at that. Never mind. It's going to be glued to a very simple, basic vignette, and you know, and that's it. We're not going to hide it with mud. We're going to hide it with cobblestones.
Fair enough. No, it's worth saying. I mean, Martin has built the entire runs on his 40XL T55, hasn't he? And he's painted them all off the vehicle as complete runs with the road wheels glued to them as well. So it is.
But as I say, the tricky thing with this is if you look, you see the contact points you've got.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, lesson learned. I mean, I'm enjoying it again now. And bear in mind, there's no, apart from the inside the the gauges and things. There's no decals to go on this, so that speeds things up a bit. Although I will have to give this a light coat of matte varnish to get rid of the shiny spots from the super glue. So, as I say,
that's why that interior was sprayed with VMS flat varnish before I joined everything to hide the spot from the super glue.
So, not the fault of the kit. It's the fault. It's the user-induced cat-handedness, I'm afraid. But it happens. These things happen. Other than that, it's come together there, and I'm really liking the look of it. And I got the figures to paint. So, I think every now and then you get one of these projects which, despite your best intentions, it decides it just wants to fight you. And it's not the kit, it's just you as a modeler
absolutely
lose the plot slightly.
We've all been there. You can have the best kit in the world and end up hating every second of it.
Yeah. Dave Fleming says something mud. Indeed, Dave. Were I building this model for myself, I would be masking the modeler-induced deficiencies with copious amounts of mud and pigments. But as this is, kind of like a display model, it's a product model. I gotta, anyway.
Yeah, you've got to go with what you got, haven't you?
We've got to build it from the box, and that includes not chucking loads of weathering bits and pieces on it as well. So anyway, there will be putting some pictures up of that later on, but so far it's just, it's tremendous. But those, I will say, I can understand why Tamiya have done those tracks that way, because it does give you the optimum amount of detail, but it does present conundrums on how you are actually going to assemble and paint it.
Julian, the annoying thing is that up until about the turn of the century, you could use spirit-based washes on plastic without any trouble whatsoever. And something happened with a change in the plastic, and now it just perishes it like oil perishes rubber.
Yeah.
And it can happen in minutes. It's really something that I try. I'm very, very aware of these days, having spent almost a week building a set of M60 tracks 7 or 8 years ago, and then I went to weather them with a spirit-based wash, and they just fell apart within minutes.
Wow.
It was the worst experience.
Pavel says, I leave each track in 2 separate sections, then only use Flory clay washes on them these days. Well, do you know what, Flat Pavel? I tend to do, when I got me brain in, I tend to do similar, except I mix up sludge washes using pigments, and then which is essentially it's a clay wash, and then put that on there, and then do it that way. I think foot in the trap moment. I think when I get around to building one of these again, I will try to do the tracks separately, and I might even try it in 2 runs. But what I will do is I'll use a clay wash on them next time. But then again, adding the rubber blocks separately at the end, it's such a bind. You may as well just put them all on in one go. But
that's a question, and it's nothing to do with modelling as such, but how many Kettengrads did they make? Is it in the high thousands, or is it like one of those?
Live on the internet now. We are now going to actually go on to the old Google here. We've gone to the Wikipedia.
I know it's a here, let me Google that for you moment, but I thought you might have known off the top of your head.
You know what they say, Drew? Do your own research. I'm just having a look. I thought it said 1,939 were built. No, that's the year 1939. Do you know what? It doesn't actually say. Here we go. Only two significant sub-variants of the Kettenkrad were constructed. Production of the vehicle was stopped in 1944, at which time 8,345 had been built. After the war, production resumed at NSU. Around 550 Kettenkrader were built for agricultural use, with production ending in 1948. Some sources say 1949.
Many have got that then, haven't they, at some point?
Agricultural Kettenkrad, yeah.
Just like that. That's got mini art written all over it, hasn't it?
It's got my debit card written all over it. I can tell you that. So there we go. That's the actual proper modelling bit done. He says ticks box. Ding, right, next. Right, okay. We are going to do a couple of news items, and as you might have seen on the timeline, there's a couple of reissues coming from Tamiya. A couple of interesting reissues from Tamiya. First one of which is the, as they describe it, British SAS Commando Vehicle 1944. It's a Jeep, but they can't call it that. Now, when I saw this on the paper listing, I thought, oh, it's the SAS one with the two guys in the desert gear. No, this is the European one, and this isn't the Tamiya kit. This is the Italeri kit. It's the Italeri Jeep with the Tamiya figures that came with the Churchill, as you can see here. So this kit, incidentally, was actually first released in 2012.
It looks fairly nice, doesn't it? It looks like a pretty decent little Jeep, that.
I built the Italeri Jeep ambulance last year, and there was nothing wrong with it. It's still a very, very nice little kit. It does the job. So I did have the Italeri boxing of the actual original Italeri boxing, a Italeri boxing of this, but Mr. Pollard's got it now. But I'm sure one of these will probably end up being on the list of things to build. So I look forward to it, because, as I say, that Italeri Jeep, it might be an oldie, but it's a goldie, and it's a nice old kit there, and you get some nice stowage with it as well. So so that's one of the two reissues coming from Tamiya. The other one is the 48 scale SDKFZ 234/2 Puma, which, again, as the eagle-eyed out there will have noticed, this is another one of the reboxings they've done of an Italeri kit.
And Italeri did that in 48 scale.
Italeri did that in 48 scale, and it was released in 2010. Exactly.
Absolutely. I'm just completely. I didn't realise Italeri had really delved into 48 scale armour.
Yeah, done 48 scale armour. Yeah, they've got quite a range, actually. So, so this has come back again this is back under a Tamiya boxing again. So hopefully we'll get hold of one of these and show you what it's like. I love the Puma, because do you know why I love the Puma, Drew? Do you know what my introduction to the Puma was?
Eschi?
No, close. The best kit company ever, the Matchbox one. Yeah, the Matchbox one.
I do like it, actually. It's a very modern-looking World War II vehicle, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's got that kind of Panhard look to it, doesn't it?
Especially as we've come very much full circle these days, and wheeled armour is very much in vogue again, isn't it? So I actually, I do like the Puma. It's a nice-looking vehicle. And it's interesting that these are going to be on general release, because whilst Italeri have reboxed while Tamiya have reboxed many Italeri kits over the years, it's always been for the home market. If you've got it outside of that home market, it's because you bought it as an import from somewhere. So it's really interesting to see that. They're picking up Italeri toolings and putting them on general release, which is a really interesting development. So yeah, I definitely like the Puma.
And you being somebody who doesn't really kind of German armor World War II, that's the kind of thing.
No, I don't. You know, there's stuff that I do really love in German World War II armor. There's a few little things that I really do like. Puma's one of them, and
Porsche turreted King Tiger's the other.
But my interest in World War II armor generally focused more around the Allied and Soviet stuff, to be fair.
Of which we have another item to talk about in a very short while. You've got something to drone on about, haven't you?
Yeah, this little see that was so smooth.
Hey,
That was so smooth, unbelievable.
Quality material. That Michael McIntyre doesn't get all his jokes out of a skip, you know. So
master of that art you are. Yeah, the ICM drone. Now, people, we talked about this one a few weeks ago when I had the what we call the original boxing, although it's only a couple of months old, which had one of these drones and a really rather nice trailer in it to mount the drone on. This, like the KDA-1 dual boxing that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, is just the drone with the launch pylons to go on probably an Invader. So it's got two drones in the box, just straight. And what that tends to be, if it's like the KDA-1, it's basically the two sprues. There'll be two of the same sprues, two sets of decals, the same decal sheet times two, and that's it. And I kind of think I kind of fully expect Mr. Hills to send me one. If you're watching, Andy, yes, please.
Showmaster level.
No.
Grandmaster.
To be clear, I've paid Mr. Hills for all of the drones he's so far.
Have you? Okay, fair enough. I retract that statement.
Retract your filthy statement. So yes, if you're watching, Andy, I will have this when you get stock of it, please. So yeah, I mean, I think it's such a great looking little drone, isn't it? It just oozes character, and many thousands of them were made and used. So and with the with the pylons, if you want to build them hanging off an Invader, slightly different pylons, you can mount them on a Hercules if you can get the Italeri 48 scale Hercules. Although they did do that with drones anyway, didn't they?
I think they did. Yes,
yeah, I'm sure they did that as a whatever 130 with drones. These will undoubtedly be far higher quality than the ones in the Italeri kit, but I also think that the Hercules could carry 4 of them. These drones, I mean, you've seen my built-up KDA-1. It's a 5-day job. It was a really, really quick job to slam it together. Molding quality is spot on. Fit is spot on. Plastic quality, engraved detail. ICM are at the top of their game now. Absolutely the top of their game. So I can almost certainly say, based on the fact I have the first boxing disc with the trolley, this can be. I don't have the kit in my hand yet, but this can be recommended pretty much without reservation. It's an attractive subject. It's not expensive. Oh, look, there you go, DC 130 with 4 drones on it.
There we go. Let's just bring that back again. Share screen, Chrome tab. There we go.
Yes, there we go. There we go. So I mean, that's a lovely color scheme, isn't it? But that's a big model.
Yes,
that is a big model. I don't know. It's not even. Is it? I think they might have re-released that not too long ago. Actually, as a DC.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
Did Ted Taylor build one for scale models back in the day?
Oh, blimey! Now you're talking.
So I remember definitely seeing one of the color articles in scale models with that built with drones hanging off it, and it was a remarkably nice looking model when it's finished. But yeah.
And I think the other thing we can probably say about this twin boxing of these drones is they ain't going to break the bank. And,
no, I mean the original was about. I think the original was about £13 I paid for it, and I suspect that the Reeboks will be in that ballpark because they've just basically taken one sprue out, the trailer sprue out, which is a bit more complicated than KDA's one, the KDA-1's trolley. Anyway, so it's a bit more of an involved sprue. They've just basically taken that out and popped another drone in. So I can't see it being particularly, any much more expensive. And there's some good. I mean, good. I say there's some good schemes in the box. They're pretty much all red, but you know what I mean. There's some nice individual markings where they'll make a nice sort of pair of drones together. Highly recommended. I think they're great. It's a subject that I like, and it's one of my favourite manufacturers on the scene at the moment. So, yeah, unreservedly recommended.
Talking of pears, oh, this is beautiful segue. This is just, I think we just need to kind of like stop and now consider the magnificence of this segue. Talking of pears, we have this.
I was just worried for a split second. There was
keep it clean. This is Mini Art, who you may have heard of. Yet another one of their incredibly useful and lovely little releases they're going to do is a fruit cart. It's a fruit cart, blimey. And if you look at what it's offering pomegranates, watermelons, bananas, oranges, lemons, peaches, melons, apples and pears, and kiwi. Kiwi fruit, not Sir Peter Jackson. It's actually a kiwi. And yeah, what can we say about this? This is one of those things that
it's absolutely bananas, isn't it?
It is bananas, absolutely. It's certainly the apple in my eye, and proves that oranges aren't the only fruit. Right, that's it. Yeah, we all done. Good. Right, fine. As you can see,
there's different types of melon there as well, so they make a nice pair.
And it's just one joke too far. Yes. There you go, Michael. Scrape that one off the pavement and use that on your comedy show. There we go. Right. Okay. Let's move on, really. You do get the nice little cart. And but this just has uses pretty much, across the centuries, I think is the best way of putting it. Even if you're not using the cart, the little sprues of fruits will come in.
I love that makes me laugh, obviously. Just a sprue full of fruit.
A sprue full of fruit.
That's great.
It is. It's but this you could use, boxes of fruit, everything from Napoleonic to modern day. It's the cart may have certain age implications, but era implications rather. But all this doesn't. This is fabulous. It's just again, it's a lovely little release. Also, nice little weathering project there as well. And Mr. Hills, incidentally, if you get this in, put one aside for me, and I will throw money at you because that's just I love that. It's what can you say? Mini Art. We love them.
They are absolutely unstoppable, aren't they? Every single week something is coming out from them in terms of dioramas and stuff like that. Well, a lot of it strikes me is probably in terms of something like a fruit cart, it's probably not a massive investment for them to do, but it's gonna reap such rewards. That nobody particularly had to go out and spend weeks scanning and measuring a cart, did they? Or what was our research for the fruit? Pop down the supermarket and grab some fruit, and we'll So a lot of this stuff, it just pigeons. What are you going to? Well, there's pigeons out there. Just go and take a photograph of a few. We're good.
Actually, what you're now painting is an alarming picture of their R&D department going, what are we going to do? Christmas tree. Yeah, brilliant. Christmas tree. What are we going to do? Waste bucket and a packet of hobnobs. Brilliant. Yes, that's what the modeling was.
It might quite possibly be like that, but it's producing stuff that is clearly selling in high enough numbers to make them keep doing it.
What's this? Your next release is Box of Air. Take my money. Fantastic though. It just as I say, regardless of what era of modeling that you do, if you're a military modeler, you're going to find that useful. Everything, like I say, stowage and vehicles, stuff for dioramas. It's fabulous.
I see Mr. Hills was saying that's already out.
It's already out, is it? Okay. We'll just scroll down to the comment here. Mr. Hills says, we'll do that for you. Mini Art have listed a set of honest furniture. Nothing seems to be stopping them. Yes, indeed.
Great. That office space diorama I've always wanted to do is on the cards there.
Well, Hasegawa did a set of desks.
Yes.
It's you know, it's yeah. R&D, you know, they're just going out and lidaring the nearest things to them now, aren't they? So, and Rob Monfee says, "How do you like them apples? How do you like them apples, indeed?"
What a
Rob.
great film that is! What a great film that is!
Sorry, what film is that?
Do you not know?
No, I don't know.
Rob, tell him.
What? No, just tell me now.
Good Will Hunting.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I know it hasn't got lasers and space.
No, it's Robin Williams. It's kind of like, I like Robin Williams in small doses.
It's absolutely phenomenal film.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, I'm disgusted at you, frankly.
Well, it's
just, you know, just what a great film. What a great film. And I knew what Rob was talking about. So
well, okay. Well, that makes a change.
Yeah. Well, what's not Rob's talking about? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there you go. He's talking about Mallrats. Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Right. One last item to talk about tonight before we have a little bit of general chit chat, and this is coming soon from Zvezda, and this is the follow up to their awesome 35th scale Sherman they did last year, and it's another Sherman. But this is the M4A3 76 with a 76mm gun and turret. Not much to report at the moment because all Zvezda have put up is the box art blurb and the decal sheet. But as you can see, it 322 parts. Honestly, I don't remember it having that many parts at all. But it does come with two different types of turret, so I'm assuming it's probably going to include the original one in there as well as the new 76mm one. The decal sheet includes an American one. Oh, look, a free French one. Ooh.
I like that. I like the free French idea.
I've been trying to find pictures of this one today, but I get the funny feeling that might actually be with the older turret, which kind of slightly negates the
point of the box. Yeah.
Point of the boxing. Well, no, not from Zvezda's point of view, but if you already built the other one, then you want to build it with a different turret. But
yes,
either way, I built the other Zvezda one last year, and it is just one of the best 35th scale tank kits I've built in recent times. It's purely curbside. There's no interior, but it is absolutely fantastic. The detail, it's like I say, and I know some people who have also built it have also been as equally effusive about it as well. I'm really looking forward to building another one of these because this was one of my modeling highlights of last year. Fabulous kit, and I do seem to remember that the original release was some 25 quid.
Yeah, it wasn't expensive, was it? It
was not expensive.
Zvezda are a fantastic value for money. And I mean, as we previously discussed, their armor in particular is just phenomenally good these days. Just the last 10 years or so, everything they've released is just clicked together. You know, and talking to Zvezda, that's why I've got that up in my corner of my because that kit is out now, but isn't in the UK, and we know that I'm looking for it and want one. So
you've got it up there in the corner of the screen. In what sense are you hoping one is going to turn up via supernatural powers or something?
That would be nice. That would be nice. No, I wouldn't have any problem with that. But no, it's just as a weekly. That's been my main focus of, you know, checking on eBay and doing stuff like that this week to see if I can get hold of one, because I'm going to be needing a few of them. But it certainly looks fantastic from the inbox reviews I've seen. So yeah, Zvezda again, killing it.
Let's say hello to everybody who has given up their Sunday evening, because it's quality entertainment on the television on a Sunday evening. Trust me. We will say hello to Dave Swindle, Ian Hart up, Dave Fleming, Joe Pestaglici. Nailed it in one there. That's because I was doing a Dustin Hoffman kind of running around the block saying his surname, kind of marathon manish, so I could come in and do it in one go. Andy Brennan, Dougal McWougle, Paul Milligan, Stephen Pryor, Ophir Cohen, The Scale Model Hanger. Hello to the Scale Model Hanger. Ivan Jensen Taylor. Mike Stofko. Hello, Mike. John Patrick Hustron. Dave Mummery. Tim Cavalier. Dave Coward. Greg Woodbridge. Mark Ryan. Darren McGuinness. Artie Mod. Artie Mod says, when will the International Olympics Committee recognise competitive model making? I think it's already competitive enough as it is without dragging medals.
The IOC into it, yeah.
It's be Harrogate all over again. Mark Ryan, scrolls down. Dave Fleming, Anthony Bird, Brian Wilton, Pavel Krupovich, scrolls down. Mike Klages. Apologies, Mike, if I've just massacred your surname there. Rob Monfee, him again. Scrolls down. Andrew Hills, Mr. Hills himself from Antics. Anticsonline.uk is the
pusher extraordinaire.
Yeah. Jen Wright, Julian Dallamore. Good evening, Julian. I think he's a first-time viewer. Kat Ludwell. Hello, Kat. And Dave says Harry Potter is on. That's what we've all seen. Actually, I'm just going to say I did watch. While I was having my lunch today, I did catch about 20 minutes of the 1985 film Young Sherlock Holmes. Right, very proto Harry Potter. Everything in there is kind of like everything that's in Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter thing. The kind of like the dynamics, the villains, the everything is in Young Sherlock Holmes. Coincidentally, directed by Chris Columbus, who directed the first two Harry Potter films. Oh, anyway, there we go.
I have to say to Joe there saying bravo. Joe, the biggest problem I have now is not saying your surname in some faux Italian accent.
Yes, please don't. We're not. No Joe Pesci impressions here, please. That's.
Anyone?
Yeah, that's Jen.
Anyone got any recommendations for a large aperture airbrush?
I wouldn't call Drew Manton a large aperture airbrush,
but I've been called worse today.
Worse, yeah.
To be honest, I kind of find. I mean, I'm waiting for the Mr. Hobby with the 0.5 nozzle to turn up from Mr. Hills. Hopefully, he'll get stock eventually. I know he's having a bit of trouble with the stock at the moment, as a lot of the UK is having a lot of trouble with a lot of stock. But I don't know, Jen. I mean, I would have thought you would have known more about large aperture airbrushes than me, possibly, because you do a lot more sort of gloss finishes and stuff than I do. But I don't really think anything over a 0.5 needle is necessary for the kind of models I build generally. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that Mr. Hobby with the 0.5 nozzle.
You did for a while, for a very brief while, probably about 2 years. You did have my Iwata. What was that? Not the TR1, was it?
No, it was a kind of crossover. I mean, to be honest, the only reason you got it back was because you asked for it. I was kind of hoping you'd forgotten about it. Forget about it.
Literally, forget about it. Yes.
But I did have to order a new nozzle for that when I returned it to you. I managed to break a nozzle. But
actually, what model was that again? It's just over there on the shelf, but I'm not going to get up and look. Was it? There wasn't the TR1, was it? Or was it the TR3?
It wasn't the TR1. It was.
Should I go and get it?
I absolutely can't remember.
Oh, fill in for me. I'm just going to go and get it. Bear with.
He says fill in for me and then just leaves me to it. But I mean, don't you use a 0.5 nozzle brush anyway? You want a bigger one for VMS and primer. Yeah, you're kind of looking at the TR series, aren't you? And I mean, what kind of nozzle size do you want? 0.7, 0.8 maybe? I would really have expected that to be the sort of question I would ask you, Jen, not the other way around, to be honest. Have you got it? There you go. HPTH, that was it.
HP. Now there is a.
By the way, can I have that back?
No. What are you spraying with it?
Everything. I used that quite a lot, didn't I?
All right, you can borrow it for a short while then. The story behind this, the very interesting story behind this is that actually, Jen, you were actually there at the time. We were at Telford. This is going back about 5-6 years ago. And we were sat by the little Renault T-Wagon in the corner, and we'd been watching Paul Budzig use one of these because he was talking about he's off. Let's see, attention span like a squirrel.
No, I haven't gone anywhere. Look, I'm just sitting down again.
Right, we'd watched Paul Budzig's video where he was using one of these, and I was sat there and I looked on Amazon, and lo and behold, on Amazon they had one of these it was actually under 100 quid. So I ordered it. It turned up from Japan about a week later. no import duty or anything, and it was brilliant. And then we went to, I thought we've got to get another one, just got to get another one at that price. By the time I went around to get another one at that price, do you know how much they were, ladies and gentlemen? They were £325. Yeah,
insane. We should have ordered 2 straight off the bat, shouldn't we? 0.5, 0.2. Sorry, Jen, I'm just looking at the Feng Da that you were saying I got. And yeah,
Jen says, do you want to sell it to Jonathan Mock? The short answer to that, Jen, is no. Because it upset him.
Yeah.
He'd be furious. He'd be furious that I sold my airbrush, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's only nominally your airbrush.
But by virtue of the fact that I paid for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that small legal detail, yes. Apart from that, I'm not kidding.
This is nominally your airbrush in the sense that you currently have possession of it.
This, honestly, phaser set to sun, it is, but this is a kind of like a halfway house between an airbrush and a spray gun, because this pumps out, you can empty this paint cup in a matter of seconds.
I think, Dan, if you want to see it, if you have a look back on my YouTube channel, I did some priming of a chieftain and painting of a chieftain in 30 scale with it, and it'd be about 2015, 2016. But if you ever go and have a look, you can see how quickly and smoothly it lays down paint and how easy it is to keep a wet edge and stuff with it.
2016 is probably how much they cost these days.
But it's almost like you kind of think that might be worth keeping an eye on, because it probably drops in price all the time and then goes back up and drops again, and we probably never caught it at the right point again.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look on Spaceman Bozos's website, and no, I can't see anything here. So I'm just having a look. Google shopping. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm just blimey. Yeah, £209. That's actually not bad.
Not in bad. That's kind of, I would say anything under sort of 160, and we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, £209. Oh no, that's an HPCH. It misunderstood the entire point of my search here. We'll have a look. We'll go away and come back and kind of, you know.
If you want to lay down a lot of paint quickly, but it's still an airbrush rather than a gun. You know, it's still got it's still only got one sort of pressure adjustment and stuff like that. So it's definitely an airbrush, but you get a fan pattern and a circular pattern nozzles for it that you can change quite easily. Yeah, it's a fantastic brush for laying down a lot of paint very, very quickly. And I wish I still had it, but I don't.
Dave Fleming says it's a water hour here on the shopping channel. It certainly is, Dave.
It's always a water hour, Dave, because they're simply the best airbrushes. You know, even my even my Mr. Hobby PS771, it's a custom Micron. It's a custom Micron. It's completely interchangeable with a custom Micron. So, and I've used this precisely once since I got it, but I will be using it on the on the Beaufort to freehand the extra dark sea grey after I've applied the dark slate grey camouflage to it. So that will be getting used. Talking of which, I was messing around with dark slate greys and stuff this week again, and I had the MRP ones out. MRP extra dark sea grey and dark slate grey. I don't like them. I don't like the colour matches. I really don't.
I've got the Hataka colours for that.
Do you know what? I keep meaning to get the Hataka set. I haven't yet got it, but I do have the AK Real Colour,
right?
Extra dark sea grey and dark slate grey, and I really liked them when I tested them.
Right.
The dark slate grey in particular is quite real. The dark slate grey, you can see why the Americans used olive drab in its place.
Yep, I was just going to say
because it's olive drab. It is a really reddy. It's got a definite hint of red brown in it, but it's a very olive colour. It's nowhere near as grey as nearly everybody else.
This is. It's one of those colours that the name is a terrible misnomer, because I actually had this discussion with somebody the other day. Where was I? I was out somewhere, and I said, "Oh, that's God, no. This was a while back. I've just trying. I suddenly remembered where it was, and this was pre-pandemic actually. And I was in Wales, and somebody pointed something, and they said, "Oh, I like that colour," and I said, "Yeah, it's dark slate grey." And they said, no, it's a kind of like it's an olive green. I said, yeah, but I know it as dark slate grey. And they were like, well, it's not grey. And I said, yeah, I know. Dark slate grey isn't grey. That's the funny thing about the name. Yeah. And in the end, I actually called it up on the phone. I actually called up a BS colour swatch of it, and I literally held it up against the wall, and it looked like there was a hole through the phone onto the wall, because it was an absolute dead match. It probably was actually, whatever the number is, BS381C dark slate grey. But dark slate grey is not a grey, it's a green, and it's an olivey green.
It's an olive green. And, I think there's been a lot of, for the last however many years, we've kind of allowed our perception of it to be shifted by what model manufacturers have provided us with. And yet, if you go and look in the Fleet Aero Museum, anything that's got dark slate grey on it, and you actually step back and put all your preconceptions to one side and look at it, you go, that's olive drab. That is, that's olive drab. There's no doubt about it. Most models don't have it anywhere near dark enough or green enough, or I should say most options. And I looked at the I sprayed the MRP one earlier this week on a test spray just to see what it looked like. And it was grey with almost a purpley kind of thing, very subtly undertone sort of thing, if you know what I mean.
I don't want you to be having that, son.
But it just looked absolutely not a million miles away, but far enough away that you just don't know. You know it's not right.
Yeah. Sorry, Anthony's just said to Jed about the Parsh TG3AS. I'm just Googling that to see what that's like. Yeah, I'm just
needle and a fan head.
Yeah, Parsh. Here we go. Parsh 3. I'm just calling up the page at the moment here. Oh, I say. No, Mirtron, look at this. Share screen. Chrome. I shouldn't show you this, Drew, because you'll probably hit your debit card when you see this. It's look at this. Look. Oh.
Right, and where's that?
Well,
I'm going to be needing one of those. No,
it's pretty nice, isn't it? That's
nice, and I like the fact it's an airbrush, not a trigger type.
Yeah. That's interesting. Let's just kill that second, because I want to go and have a look and see if I can find a UK supplier to that, because that was Parsh in America. It's a very Parsh airbrush, isn't it? Bidding.
Who does Parsh in the UK?
Yeah, it might be the airbrush company. Oh, this is all dollars. 109. I just found one for $109 here actually, which is with the exchange rate at the moment, it's probably about £3 million.
But thanks, Anthony. That's one I'll certainly be looking at.
Yeah. Here we go. eModels. eModels.co.uk.
Oh, really?
94 pounds. 94 pounds. Bear with.
One.
He's getting excited. Calm him down.
Yeah, well, I'm no stranger to ordering from eModels either. And that's
right. There we go. Oh, that's the P. No, sorry, that's the P.
No, that's not the same brush.
No, it's not the same brush. Oh, for goodness sake! Oh, there we go. No, VL is the TG3A. Well, that's annoying. I'm sure we'll find one at some stage. TG3 £135.87 plus £12 delivery. We'll find one. But it does look rather funky, doesn't it?
Like that could be. I sense Jen and I could be could be airbrush twins again soon.
Oh, here we go. Actually, Jen says Amazon. I see. I can't. This is annoying. I can't actually. These things you can't click on the link or actually copy the link on this. So I'm just going to go. Let's just go to Jeff's Magic Shop. Amazon. Fill in, Drew. Tell him a funny joke. Not that one. Hang about. Amazon.co.uk. Right. So what we're looking at, Parsh. What was it? TG Airbrush. TG3. Let's have a look. I can't find one at the moment. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is bear with. If I actually go to our live feed on Facebook, he's doing a very good job filling in here at the moment. I'm doing all the talking.
I'm kind of reading. I'm just reading from Mike Williams there, saying every time you use MRP for the Dark Slate Grey and Extra Dark Siege Grey, gets feedback they look spot on, including from us, which makes it especially strange that when I did that test spray myself this week, Mike, it just didn't look right to me. It just didn't look right. I mean, perhaps it's because I didn't spray some extra dark sea grey over it, and it kind of brought them into alignment, if you like. Oh no, Jen's done it. She's only gone and ordered it, hasn't she?
Well, no. What she's found was the TG set. I don't think that's quite the same airbrush. But then again, if she's like the look of the one that she's seen on Amazon, which is only £104, and that's with Prime as well, then £107.47. Amazon. Oh, hang about. Let me just call up the thing. Hang about. Oh, welcome to the shopping channel, everybody. I do like it when we suddenly go on these.
Well, no, I think it's good because it keeps.
There we go.
People certainly seem to be interested.
Yeah.
In what we're talking about.
So TG set. The TG is Parsh's newest airbrush and delivers finest detail. Blah 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 blah.
TG3AS there though. They've actually got it as the TG3AS there. Look.
Oh, so it is
currently unavailable.
Currently unavailable. But it does. It looks to be.
In fact, I'm going to add that. I will go and add the TG3AS to my list, and hopefully, if it does become available, they'll let me know.
Okay. Well, Anthony, thank you very much. That's very interesting, and certainly, if it turns out to be actually a bit of a hot property, then they might be doing a report on it on this show at some stage.
Yeah. So I did see something back here. Bear with me just a second. Somebody was asking what we think of the Iwata Neos.
Never used one.
No, I mean there we go, Julian Dallimore. The thing for me, Julian, is that I love Iwata airbrushes. I've been using them for 13 or 14 years now. I'm sure everybody will back me up on that. The Iwata Neo is not an Iwata airbrush. It's an airbrush that is built for Iwata. And so I've heard reasonably good things about them. They're decent enough airbrushes, but what you're singularly not getting is an Iwata airbrush. You need to look at going up 35, 40 pounds for the sort of base level Iwata, which is still going to be better than a Neo. In fact, I posted something about this on my modeling page earlier today because somebody had said, I'm a newcomer and I'm interested in getting into airbrushes. Which airbrush would you recommend? And I said, look at the airbrush you've got your eye on, then save for another 3 or 4 weeks and buy the next one up. Mm-hmm. Because I kind of, I definitely think that you grow into an airbrush as you learn to use it. So starting with something perhaps a little bit more than you initially expected is worth a few weeks worth of extra saving, in my opinion. So like John, I've never used an Iwata Neo, but Iwata Neos weren't around when I started using proper Iwatas. So I'm not gonna step back to try something, which is clearly not an Iwata.
Having said that, though, I don't think Iwata would brand something if it was junk.
No, I've never seen a single. I've never seen a single thing saying it's junk.
No, I mean they are. I think the thing I'd say, Julian, about the Iwata Neos are they sit at such a price range within the Iwata catalogue that, as Drew says, with just a little bit more outlay, you can actually get a proper Iwata.
Honestly, save for a few more weeks and get either an Iwata or one of the what do you call it, hobby
Procon.
Gunzi Procon. Mr. Hobby, that's the name. I'm trying desperately not to use guns anymore because it hasn't been Gunze for nearly 20 years and we still use it as kind of like, so I'm trying to use it. I'm trying to use a proper name for it, which is Mr. Hobby. So I would recommend, and in fact, a Mr. Hobby you'll get for around 15 or 20 pounds more than the base Iwata Neo that Andrew says there is 76.50.
Yeah, so they're not the little sub 50 quid airbrushes they used to be.
They've kind of increased in price markedly in the last couple of years. I think you've got that division now, if you like, between the Neo quality and then the sub £40 Chinese clones. The Iwatas are not the Neos are not a Chinese clone in that they're built for Iwata, so it is there's kind of a quality guarantee, if you like, there. But definitely I would say if you're looking to get into airbrushing, save for another couple of weeks and get the next model up and get yourself a reasonably good, decent compressor as well.
Compressor, I will say, compressor is something that you just don't skimp on. It's worth skipping a number of kit purchases just to get a decent compressor.
Far more important than how fine the needle is on your airbrush is having a good, uninterrupted supply of air through that brush that you're not worried about running out, so you can also practice.
Yeah, and Drew and I have come from that background of frosted cans of compressed air, and
absolutely, yes,
and the associated frostbite within. I remember when I got my Sparmax compressor, which was 10 years ago. This year, it's sat right in front of me here. It's a thing. It literally, I remember when I unboxed it. And I was just, the thing that really impressed me was just the quality of the couplings and the hoses and everything on it. It was nothing short of about 180 quid, which felt like at the time I had just kind of like, blown a lot of money on a compressor. Quite simply, one of the best modeling purchases I've ever made. It's just wonderful. It's a brilliant bit of kit. It still looks as new now as when I got it 10 years ago. So it's and we do see this quite a bit. I know we've recently been upping the the budget airbrushes and giving them a bit of exposure, but it is a noticeable thing that I frequently see on pages and forums and groups where somebody has gone out and they bought already like a 50 quid Tamiya kit, and they've chucked 20 quid of etch on it, and they've chucked resin on it, and they've chucked another 25 quid on some metal tracks for it, and they're trying to paint it with equipment that costs less than the model. And it's like, skip those kits, skip the after. If you've got the budget but you're spending it on kits, hold it back and get the gear.
And spend it on the gear, absolutely. And you can see from the way the comment section here is going, this is why perhaps going off piste a little bit occasionally is not a bad thing, because it's stimulating the conversation brilliantly.
Yeah,
it's like,
you
know, you've got Timothy Campbell there talking about Izuata Neo, and saying, you know, it's fairly rough in fit and finish, perfectly adequate, but, you know, not an airbrush you're ever going to fall in love with.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the first time I used I bought an Iwata and used it, I fell in love with Iwatas.
Likewise.
You know, and then the airbrush in the same price category. The first time I started using a Harder and Steenbeck, I hated it, and I still hate it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, you know, it's a top of the range airbrush choice. It just doesn't suit my style of my modeling style. It's not comfortable.
Anthony says, not one to turn this into the past show. No, of course not. It's the mini art show. But go back when you prefer on Amazon and look at the TG3F. Seems to include the same heads as the unavailable size. The Talon seems to be put in loads of box combinations. Well, we've not only do we actually have the tab up here, but we've actually just put it up on the page as well. There it is. Parsh TG3F, £142.48. Oh, it's a bit tasty, doesn't it?
I say, Gav. And the other thing is, although that's clearly a kind of premium sort of airbrush, because of the stuff that we're talking about using it for, absolute finesse in use is not what we're looking for. We're looking to get really decent coats down, coverage quickly. You know, maintaining a wet edge as you're spraying, all that kind of stuff. So we shall await Jen's verdict with bated breath, really, because I'm really interested. You know, because I don't have to order one now until I know if it's any good or not, because Jen's already done it.
Here we go. Dave Mummery says, saved up and got a Sparmax compressor, Procon PS289, and decent spray booth from the outset, plus a face mask. Never regretted it for a moment. Indeed, David, absolutely, 100% behind you there. And he also says, have bought one of those cheap Fengers to chuck water-based stuff through. Does the job for now, but not a patch on quality and comfort as the Procon, not even close. No, I do like my Fengers, but having done some kind of like spraying with the one over the weekend, it kind of like, how can I, to use a metaphor, it's a bit like, it's very good, and it's like having a pack of 12 colour felt pens, but the Iwatas are like having 100 pack of colour felt tip pens. Does that make sense?
Right. Can we block Dave Fleming, please?
Yeah, that's absolutely Dave Fleming. Well, that word is. On that note, he's spoilt the atmosphere now. He's killed the buzz.
He's always got to bring it down.
He's always got to. Right. Right. So we're just coming up to we're coming up with an hour and 20 minutes now. I think we need to go away and have food and things.
I think John Patrick Houston there saying H&S forever. That's exactly my point, John. Some people love it, and I don't. And it's not. I'm not saying they're not good airbrushes. What I'm saying is I hate them because I hate using them because they don't fit my style.
This is very much Fender versus Gibson. This is.
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, they're not airbrushes.
No, no, but I'm just.
What do you?
That'll wake
cricket bats now or something.
We're talking about cricket bats. I say that'll wake Andy Brennan up. That will. Right.
Anyway.
Any other business?
It's almost a shame. We should have an evening of airbrush talk sometime where we don't have.
We will.
Where we don't perhaps have a limit on it and start.
We will have an evening of airbrush talk where we will actually be using them in anger. There we go. Yeah. There we go. We'll do that. An open-ended drop-in airbrush evening. So, just quickly, the last bit of airbrush chat for tonight. If I was buying a new airbrush now, I'd be looking at the Procon Boy PS 770, 771. Just hearing too many good things about them to ignore. And here's one.
There's a 771 I prepared earlier.
Here's one we prepared earlier.
And I think, to be honest, the reason I don't use it very much is because it's such a fine airbrush that you have to be doing really fine work with it. And when you're just laying down coats of colour, it's clearly overkill to use a £300 airbrush for that. However, I wouldn't want to be without it now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be without it. Andy says I like the PS 770. There's, just so people know, the 770 and the 771 are exactly the same airbrush. Only one's got a matte finish and one's got a chrome finish. 771's got a chrome finish. 770's got a matte finish. Otherwise, they're exactly the same airbrush.
Yeah. Andy also says I like my Les Paul. So what does he know? All right. Right. So. Any other business?
Not from me.
Not from you. Right. I would just make a plea. Here is a plea to people out there who run Facebook pages and Facebook groups, and that is when certain modeling techniques come up for discussion, rather than shutting down the discussion in order to placate a small minority who always turn it into a bit of a bun fight, get rid of the small minority and let the rest of us discuss the technique like adults. That's all I'm going to say on that particular thing. That's all that has to be said about that. Anything else, Drew?
No, I think that covers it quite nicely.
So, right. So Wednesday, I'm going to try and get Ivan on the show.
Okay. I'm available. I'm available.
If Ivan can't do it, then we'll drag you out of the bike shed and get you back on. I thought it'd be nice to have Ivan on because Ivan's just done that beautiful diorama of that World War I truck, and
yes. Hasn't he just?
I think Ivan is a shareholder in Mini Art, so like the rest of us.
Beautiful job.
But we definitely will do an elongated airbrush special. I think that'd be a good one. That'd be a very
later on in the year we could do it as a sort of weekend afternoon sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like. An
extra.
Talking of shows, the latest I have heard about the IPMS Nationals about Scale Model World is that they are still looking into it, and they're probably going to make a decision at the end of August for a no-go. Obviously, in this country, the situation is very. How would we describe it? Fluid, volatile? I don't know, one way or the other.
Volatile would be a word, yes. Volatile at the moment.
We are in a situation where actually the COVID numbers are actually decreasing at the moment, but that is before we've suddenly gone into the easing of lockdown. So the next month is actually going to be critical. So I think from IPMS UK's standpoint is actually being able to have this, the next month to see what's going to happen.
Because I'm going to a festival in a couple of weeks' time, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, as I said on a post during the week, hopefully we'll be popping down to Bovington probably week after next. Fingers crossed. So might just do a little kind of live-et from there. But certainly, you will be seeing the fruits of the trip down there, because there will be a shed load of reference photographs and probably a shed load of things from the shop as well. And then actually the Saturday after that, I am provincially scheduled to bump into you in Frome. And then on Sunday,
that is a fortnight. That is in a fortnight's time, so that'll be
you're the 8th, aren't you? 7th or 8th?
7th.
7th. The 8th is scheduled to be the Avon IPMS show. I am really, I don't know whether I'll be going to that or not. It's, I'm not, obviously the organisers, we wanted to put on as safe a show as possible, and I don't doubt that they will do so. As a personal thing, I'm just like,
still not happy.
Still not quite comfortable to be throwing myself into the deep end at the moment. Anyway, on that note, we just want to say, Rob, there we go. Rob Monfils comes up with the perfect word, dynamic. And so from this dynamic duo, we see, Michael, it's quality material, mate.
Look, I'm already sanding my Beaufort. we haven't even wrapped the show up yet. I've already got distracted and started.
We'll have less of that. On that note, it just remains to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight. Thank you for indulging us for this slightly overrunning show. We'll be back midweek, and we will see you very, very soon. So in the meantime, as always, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and see you on the Wednesday. So bye-bye.